In this world, there are places that touch our lives. And in touching our lives, they change them. These places make us who we are. They introduce us to those who are most important to us. For me, that place is in London, 221B Baker Street. Now, before I continue, I suppose I should introduce myself. My name is John, although few people call me that. If you've heard from me at all, it's my surname you'll recognize. Watson. Dr. John Watson. I took my degree at the University of London in 1878. Then, having completed my studies, I set out to see the world as an assistant army surgeon. I was to join my regiment in Bombay and on to Afghanistan when, well, to make a long story short, I was shot in the left leg and struck down with enteric fever, which left me so weak and emaciated that a medical board determined not that a day should be lost in sending me back to England.
John Watson, is that you? What have you been into? You look old.
Well, I feel old, but I'm alive and free as air, or as free as my health and laughably small income shall permit.
Poor devil. You look thin as a leaf and rough as a nut. What are you up to now?
Looking for lodgings, trying to solve the problem as to whether it is possible to find comfortable rooms at a reasonable price.
That's a strange thing. You are the second man today that has used that expression.
Oh, well, who was the first?
A fellow who works at the chemical laboratory, up in the hospital. He was bemoaning himself this morning because he couldn't find someone to go halves with him in some nice rooms which he found. But which were too much for his place.
Well, by Jove, that's perfect.
Ah, you do not know Sherlock Holmes. But perhaps you would not prefer him as a constant reader.
Well, why? What is there against him?
Oh, there's nothing against him. He's a little queer in his ideas. As far as I know, he's a decent fellow.
Medical student, I suppose?
No, heaven knows what the object of his studies are. His studies are eccentric. He is well up in anatomy, a first-class chemist, quite a bit of out-of-the-way knowledge.
Well, I should like to meet this friend of yours. Where can I find him?
He is sure to be in the laboratory, just through that door there. And one more thing. He is no friend of mine, an acquaintance only. You mustn't blame me if you don't get on with him. You proposed this arrangement. I am not responsible.
Well, you must have some reason for washing your hands of the matter. Is his temper so formidable, or what is it?
It is not easy to express the inexpressible. Holmes is a little too scientific for my taste. It verges on cold-bloodedness. He appears to have a passion for definite and exact knowledge. That is sure to be your man now, and you must make your own impressions about him.
I found it! I found it! I found the reagent which is precipitated by hemoglobin, and by nothing else.
Dr. Watson, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Pleased to meet you, Watson. You have been in Afghanistan, I see.
Well, how did you know?
Good luck.
But how did you know I've been there?
No matter. The question is now about hemoglobin. No doubt you see the significance of this discovery of mine.
It is interesting, chemically, no doubt, but practically I don't...
My friend, it is the most practical medical discovery in years. Don't you see it gives us an infallible test for blood stains?
Oh, I see. But I don't...
Allow me to demonstrate. Let us have some fresh blood.
I prefer to keep the blood on the inside of my body. Thank you.
Squeamish? And you being a doctor. Imagine that.
Now see here, Mr. Holmes.
Not to worry, my dear Watson. I'll just use a drop of my own blood.
Well, no, never mind the demonstration. I'm willing to take your word on your findings.
Really?
Well, of course. Besides, it seems you could ill afford to lose another drop of your own blood.
What? Oh, you mean the damages? I have to be careful. I dabble with poisons a good deal.
You dabble with poisons? A good deal?
As I was saying, I really am pleased to meet you, but if you want to hear about my findings, what brought you?
Looking for lodgings. I was really want to go halves on the place. I'm interested.
Excellent. I found a street on Baker Street which stood us down to the ground. You don't mind the smell of strong tobacco, I hope?
I smoke myself.
Good enough. I generally have chemicals lying about and occasionally do experiments. Would that annoy you?
Not at all.
Let me see. What are my other shortcomings? Oh, yes. I get in the dumps at times. You must not think I am sulky when I do so. Just let me alone and I'll soon be right. What have you to confess now? Me?
Oh, well, I object to rouse because my nerves are shaking. I get up at all sorts of ungodly hours. I'm incredibly lazy.
Anything else?
No, I have another whole set of vices when I'm well, but those are the principal ones at present.
You say that you object to rouse. Would that include violin playing?
A well-played violin is a gift to the gods. A badly played one.
I believe we may consider it settled. We'll meet tomorrow, noon, at 221B Baker Street.
Things seem to be looking up. But how the deuce had he known I'd been to Afghanistan? We met the next day, as arranged, to inspect the rooms at 221B. They consisted of a couple comfortable bedrooms and a single, large, airy sitting space. Our monthly bill also included the services of a housekeeper. A rather large-ish, buxom, cheerful old girl to make our meals and set the rooms to rights. The terms were agreeable in every way, and we were at once entered into possession. That very evening, I brought my things round from the hotel.
Your tea is set aside, boy, whenever you're ready, Doctor.
Well, thank you, madame. Once settled in, my brain was taken up upon the mystery of my new friend. You may set me down as a hopeless busybody when I confess how much this man, Mr. Holmes, stimulated my curiosity. His income, although not grand, was generated by a sort of detecting business, one that he had himself established. We had hardly settled it before he suggested I accompany him on his adventures. I took it upon myself to chronicle his most interesting cases. Our first case together was a study in scarlet. Holmes hated the title. He thought it was a bit over-dramatic, but I rather liked it myself. Thank you. At home, his zeal for certain knowledge is remarkable, and within eccentric limits, his knowledge is so remarkably minute and exact that his observations astound me. And yet, he knows next to nothing of contemporary literature, philosophy, or politics. He is completely ignorant of the workings of our universe.
What the deuce is it to me? You say that we go around the sun. If we went around the moon, would not make a pennyworth of difference to me or my work.
Did I mention that my new friend has a bizarre fascination for the art of disguise?
So you finally noticed.
But you cheat.
I lit your pipe, served your breakfast, and fluffed your pillow. You never even noticed.
But I couldn't. You didn't.
My dear doctor, we really must work on your powers of observation.
My powers of observation are just fine, thank you.
They most certainly are not. I could walk into this room right now, change my hair, change my dress, change the way I walk, come right back in here and, even forewarned, you wouldn't recognize me.
Not true.
It is true, Doctor. In fact, if I put a little effort into it, the right dress, swayed my hips just so, I believe you would fall in love if you noticed it was me.
That is absurd, Holmes. You would make a hideous woman.
We shall see, my dear Watson, we shall see. And now, I'm off to change to something a bit more
Masculine.
indeed. And while I change, why don't you practice opening your eyes and see what's before you? Would you mind undoing me at the top? And that first clasp is devilishly hard to reach.
Indeed.
Thank you, Doctor. I will be right back. I'm expecting a client momentarily.
Someone in need of your observational skills.
Someone in need of a consulting detective. If the client rather drives you, I'm counting on your considerable charm to carry the day and entertain the client till I return.
Absolutely. It would be my pleasure. Consulting detective. I suppose he's had a bit of success on a few cases that left the police detectives baffled. Consulting detective. Well, I suppose that makes me assistant consulting detective? Or maybe junior consulting detective. Well, hello. What's this? Well, I don't believe it. He really thinks he can change his wig and costume, turn right around and fool me twice? think it's time to let some air out of his swelled head. You certainly are a hideous woman. Sway your hips all you like. I shall never fall in love with you.
How dare you! I'm looking for help and I'm insulted!
Oh, but you aren't. But I would never.
I see you've met our client.
I thought you would.
Really? Well, it seems to me that I should reconsider my wisdom and inform your aid, Mr. Holmes.
Oh, well, I'm not Mr. Holmes.
What good is an informed detective if you can't tell the difference between me and this stalk of a man? I'm sorry, did you say that you are not Holmes?
Well, I did. Well, I mean, I'm not. The stork is.
Sherlock Holmes, at your service. You must be Miss Morton.
Mary Morstan, yes. I'm so sorry, Mr. Holmes. I thought he was you. Can you forgive me?
Nothing to forgive. Quite humorous, actually. You each thought the other was me. In your case, Miss Morton, the mistake was quite natural. But, Doc,
I know. Really must work on my observational skills. Miss Morton, would you forgive me?
capital. Oh, Miss Mary Morton. This is my colleague, Dr. John Watson.
Miss Morstan.
Doctor?
And now, Miss Morton, you please enlighten us why you've come clear across town on such an abysmal rush.
Yes, well, you see, Mr. Holmes, how do you know that I rushed through across town? I even told you where I live or what time it was to leave.
Please, don't ask.
Observation and deduction, Miss Morton. Observation and deduction.
Too late. There he goes.
You see, not very much time elapsed between my receiving your notice and your arrival. So either you live in close proximity to H Street, or you rush to Israel at this time.
But I might be close. You had no way of knowing how
Your left shoe, Miss Morton.
My left shoe.
If you examine the insert, you notice a rather fresh reddish smudge,
Smudge.
made by a specific type of red clay. A red clay not found anywhere in the vicinity of Baker Street.
So by the smudge on the instep of my left shoe,
Observation
you could tell that I rushed clear across town to get my appointment with you.
and deduction. And besides, I know that a young woman of your quality would never plan to beat a Bowery's cab if she was in a dreadful hurry. You would have sent him on his way and waited for another.
How did you know the name of the gas cab I employed?
Oh, well, let me guess. You've heard the squeaking springs of Peter Bowery's run-down cab as she arrived.
Excellent, Watson. So you had it too? No.
But it could have been anyone squeezing around down cab. How on earth did you know it was the Bowery's?
Tobacco.
Tobacco?
I happen to know that Peter Bowery smokes a queer East Indian tobacco. He's the only one I know who smokes it. His brother's an important piece of supply of it. Bowery has the habit of sitting in his cabin smoking while he waits for a fare. Consequently, his cabin reeks of the stuff. And so do your clothes, Miss Watson, I am sorry to say.
Well, she does not reek. You can hardly smell it at all.
Oh, I see.
So what is it that brings you here?
This is what brings me to Mr. Holmes.
Are those pearls? Well, they're huge.
Yes, and quite valuable. I received them by post, one each year for the past 6 years. No note, no explanation, no identification or return address.
An unknown benefactor.
Why seek our help now, after 6 years apart?
In this morning's post, I received a package between the 6th post. I also received this anonymous letter.
If you'd like to know more about your father and your mysterious benefactor, be at the enclosed address at 7 o'clock tonight. You are wronged, woman, if you are distrustful. Bring 2 friends. You are wronged, woman, and you shall have justice.
Man's thumbprint on corner, probably postman. Best quality paper. Envelopes at 6pence a packet. Particular man in his stationery. Have you the wrapping from the package received this morning?
I have copies from all 6 packages. Here.
I am impressed, Miss Morton. You certainly are a modern client. Each is written in a disguised hand, except for the letter. But there is no doubt that they are written by the same author. Again, except for the letter. This is a rather pretty little mystery. What do you intend to do?
This is exactly what I want to ask you, Mr. Holmes.
Then we shall most certainly go. The three of us.
But I'm sure the doctor has more important engagements.
Rubbish. He and I have worked together before. Your correspondent says 2 friends.
Well, in that case, Doctor, would you consider joining us?
I should be pleased and happy if I could give any assistance.
You're both very kind. I have no one else to whom I can appeal. If I'm back here at 6, that would do, I suppose.
6 o'clock. No later. Just one more thing, isn't it? This letter mentions your father. Where is he now?
He vanished 10 years ago. Not a word from him since.
Does the handwriting on the letter, or from the packages, bear any resemblance to your father's?
None at all.
I expected you to say as much. Are there any friends or relations you may have contacted?
No relations. I'm the last. The only friend I know is Major Shelter. He served with my father and has an address up in Holmes. I've communicated with him, but he will not be aware of my father's back in England.
A singular case. We shall look out for you at 6. Au revoir.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Doctor? Au revoir.
It's only 3:30. I shall have enough time to look into a matter or two before we head out. Are you quite finished mooning over our client?
Look, yeah, I believe I am, for the moment. But you must admit, she is a very attractive woman.
Is she? I did not observe.
You certainly are an automaton, a calculating machine. There's positively something inhuman about him at times. And so, for the next 2 hours, he was tracking and observing and deducing whatever clues those scraps of paper held for him. My mind ran upon Mary, Miss Morstan, and the strange mystery which overhung her life. And what it might be like to hold her. Oh, but was I an army surgeon with a weak leg and a weaker banking account to think of such things? Holmes was back at 5:30.
There is no great mystery in this matter. The facts of it have only one explanation.
But you've solved it already.
Let us just say I have discovered a suggestive fact. That is all. It is, however, very suggestive. I have just discovered on consulting the back files of the Times that Major Shelter of Upper Norwood died upon the 28th of April, 1882.
I may be very obtuse, Holmes, but I fail to see what this suggests.
No? You surprise me. Look at it this way then. The girl's father disappears. The only person he may have contacted is Major Shelter, who denies having heard that Morstan was in London. 4 years later, Shelter dies. Within a week of his death, Miss Morstan receives a valuable present, which is repeated from year to year, now culminates in this letter from a different source, which describes her as a wronged woman.
Wronged woman, yes.
What wrong can it refer besides this deprivation of her father? And why should the presents begin immediately after Shelter's death,
Unless Shelter's heir knows something of the mystery and desires to make compensation?
Excellent, Watson. It seems there is hope for you yet. Now, enclosed in this series was a small card bearing an address.
The location of our 7 o'clock appointment.
Correct. Would you care to venture a guess at the address?
I don't suppose it's an address in Upper Norwood.
It is indeed.
So we are to meet Shelter's heir.
Presumption, Doctor.
Well, no, that would be a deduction, Holmes.
Deduction tells you to meet someone at Shelter's Upper Norwood estate. It is presumption to take that extra step and assume it's Shelter's heir with whom we shall be meeting. Ah, precisely 6 o'clock. Very punctual. That's maybe what I admire most about our new client.
How's it that when he does it, it's deduction? It's when I do it, it's presumption. I suppose that's why I'm the junior consultant detective. But I'll tell you one thing. Although commendable, Miss Morstan's punctuality is not what I admire most about her.
Coming, Watson?
I'll be right there. It was to be a long and dismal drive to Upper Norwood. Mud-colored clouds hung sadly over the muddy streets. The dull and heavy evening, combined with the strange mystery to which we were entwined, combined to make me nervous and depressed. I could tell from Miss Morstan's manner that she was suffering the same. I endeavored to cheer and amuse her with reminiscences of my adventures in Afghanistan.
As I recall, he told me in great and glorious detail how a musket looked into his tent in the dead of night, and how he fired a double-barreled tiger cub at it.
Thanks, sir. Should I wait?
If you do, you will be well paid for it. I'm not sure how long it will be.
All right, I'll just pull around my gate then. You take your time, I'll wait a bit.
Thank God it wasn't Peter Howard's cabin.
Shall we have a ring at the door? Our quest does not seem to take us to very fashionable locations.
Who's here? Tell me who you are and state your business. I have no use for intruders. I know you're there. I heard your carriage. Who are you?
We are here by appointment. Please, open the door.
Appointment? There are no appointments here. Be on your way. Mr. Shoto, I presume. Yes, I already know who I am. The next question is, who are you?
My name is Mary Morstan. I'm here to ask you about...
No, it can't be you. You can't be here. No.
I assure you, sir, it is me, and I am here.
If you let us in right now, sir, we won't have to involve the police. No. No outsiders. No officials. No police. There's nothing more unaesthetic than a policeman. Oh, you best come in, I suppose. Come in.
Thank you, Mr. Shelter.
Yes. That is Shelter. That is my name. You're Miss Morstan, of course. These gentlemen?
This is Mr. Sherlock Holmes, and this is Dr. Watson.
A doctor? A doctor? Miss Morstan, how very kind of you. You brought a doctor.
Yes, well, he's an associate of Mr. Holmes.
You're a stethoscope doctor? Might I ask? Would you have the kindness? I've had grave doubts as to my mitral valve. If you would be so very kind.
Of course. I suppose so. Take a seat, sir, and I'll be happy to give it a listen.
Very good. You see, the aortic I may rely upon, but I should value your opinion upon the mitral.
Well, everything appears to be normal. You have no cause for uneasiness.
Thank you, Doctor. You'll excuse my anxiety, Miss Morstan. I am a great sufferer. I've long had suspicions as to that valve. Delighted to hear that they are unwarranted. Had your father or Franklin thrown a strain upon his heart, he might have been alive now.
Oh, I knew in my heart that he was dead.
Well, that was a cruel way to break the news, sir.
She didn't know. She didn't know, of course. How could she? Enlighten us, please, Mr. Shelton. No, I can't. What would Brother Bartholomew say? No. She's upstairs, you know. You can come down at any time. I'm afraid you must go. Quickly now.
Now, see here, sir. I will not allow you to upset the lady so, and then refuse an explanation. You will explain your remark, or
Doctor, please. It is Mr. Shelton's residence. We are intruding, and we should leave.
Holmes.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes, for your understanding. The one from my twin brother.
Your twin?
Identical? Oh, God. I do understand, Mr. Shoto, and my companions and I will be on our way then. You asked the cabbie to wait, did you not, Doctor?
Well, yes, it's right outside the gate, but...
Off we go then. It is a shame, however, Doctor, that you don't have the opportunity to give Mr. Shoto the full benefit of your medical knowledge.
My medical knowledge?
Yes, Doctor. If only you could stay long enough to give our host a full medical examination, I'm sure we can answer a few questions for this course.
A full medical examination? Yes, of course.
A full medical examination? Doctor, I'm so pleased. Come, all of you. Have a seat, Miss Morse, Mr. Holmes, and Doctor. I am ready. And, Brother Bartholomew couldn't object to me having a full physical examination. He knows what condition I'm in.
Indeed. It's a good thing I brought my kit.
Thank you, Mr. Shelter. This is very kind of you. Any information you can give me about my father's disappearance is greatly valued.
I can give you every information, and what is more, I can do you justice. And I will too. Whatever Brother Bartholomew may say. Cough, please. You see, it's all started when, again, your father and mine were serving together in India once more. And somehow or another, I discovered an amazing and quite valuable, one last time, please, treasure. Perhaps you'd be the tiniest bit less thorough in your examination. What? Oh, yes, of course. Let's continue, Mr. Schultz. My father received his discharge papers first, several months before your own father, Miss Wilson. He returned home a profoundly changed man. Profoundly changed in what manner? His nerves were shattered. He was a haunted man. He dared not seek the refuge of sleep. Evil dreams waited to ambush him.
Do you have any idea what could have caused this nervous condition?
His anxiety seemed to focus on one man in particular. Who was this man? I don't know. He never gave the man a name. Father always referred to him as one-legged scoundrel or Pegfoot.
One leg.
Pegfoot.
How peculiar.
Certainly distinctive.
A definite clue. Do continue, Mr. Shoto.
What of my father? What do you know of him?
Your father? Oh, yes. Your father. Well, at the very end, as my father lay dying, he called Brother Bartholomew and I to his bedside.
What, my father?
Come close and listen well, my son. For I've not enough life in my body to save his wife. I've only one thing which weighs upon my mind at this supreme moment. My treatment of my friend Captain Morton and his poor orphan daughter.
Whatever happened to Captain Morton, father?
I will tell you, Morton had suffered for years from a weak heart. He concealed it from everyone. I alone knew his condition. When in India, he and I, through a partner change of circumstances, came into possession of what considerable treasure! I brought from England, and on the night of Morton's arrival, he came straight here to claim his share.
Whatever happened, father? Tell us!
Greed. Cursed greed. So blind and foolish a thing as avarice. We had a difference of opinion as to the vision of the treasure when he came to these words. Suddenly, he put his hands to his chest, his face to the dust of the end. And then he...
Do you think he's quiet?
Turn backwards! And his hand against the corner of the treasure chest.
That's not good. Not good at all.
Right in front of him, I found to my horror that he was dead. I couldn't call for assistance. There was every chance I could be accused of murder. His death at the moment, the quarrel, the gash on the back of his head would all be black against me.
Just so. Just so.
And then there was the treasure that I was particularly anxious to keep secret. Morton told me that no soul on earth knew where we got. There's no reason why he told me the truth. and I disposed of the body that night.
Whatever happened to the treasure, Father? What of Captain Morton's share of the treasure?
I plumped Morton's share as well as mine own. See this chaplet taken from purse? Even this I could not bear to part with, even though I took it from the chest with the design of sending it to poor orphan daughter.
My pearls, you sent them to me. They were taken from the chaplet.
Exactly so, Miss Morse. Exactly so.
Do continue, Mr. Sholto.
Oh, yes, of course. Where was I?
The treasure!
Oh, yes. Now I remember. You, my sons, he told us, will give her a fair share of the treasure. That exact moment. Deep shadow passed in front of the window.
Keep him out! For God's sake, keep him out!
Brother Bartholomew and I raced fearlessly to the window. There was nothing to be seen.
Come, my sons, I feel there is no time. I must tell you what I did in the treasure. Closer. The closer I must whisper in your ears. The treasure is in... The treasure is in... The treasure is in the...
Well, you've got to be joking. The old man goes through all that, and that's when he dies?
It's a secret that killed him. But he could crush him, it was too much for his spleen.
His spleen. How perceptive of you, Mr. Sholto, to diagnose your father so accurately. His spleen. Don't you agree, Doctor?
Oh, of course. How perceptive. Thank you, Doctor. I do pride myself on my knowledge of all things medical.
Mr. Sholto, you say that you saw nothing at the window? No one at all?
That is correct. After Father expired, Brother Bartholomew and I immediately searched the grounds outside of the bedroom window. We found nothing but a single footprint. Proof that someone had indeed been looking through the window.
Excellent. Anything else, Mr. Sholto?
Well, now that you ask, Mr. Holmes, there was something odd. When we returned to my father's bedside, I found this note into his nightshirt, right over his heart. The sign of 4.
And on the back, 4 names. Morstan, Sholto, Small, and Tonga.
Morstan and Sholto are both crossed out.
Dead. They're both dead.
Yes, Miss Morstan. Thank you. Miss Sholto, these other 2 names,
Small and Tonga.
do you recognize them?
No, never heard of them. Small is a common enough name, but no Smalls in my father's circle. None that I know of, anyway.
How about Tonga? Surely there are 3 with that name.
Tonga? Tonga. No. No bells ringing. No Tonga. No bells ringing in his tower, I should say. Perhaps we should consult with Brother Bartholomew. You may know this mysterious Tonga person, or at least maybe a small or 2. Brother Bartholomew's quite clever. He's been spending all his time measuring all the floors and walls and windows and such, trying to figure out where Father hid the treasure.
Looking for a hidden room. Yes, your brother is clever, Mr. Sholto. We should speak with him at once.
Do you know, I haven't seen him all day. I'll see if the housekeeper knows his whereabouts. There you are, Miss Hodgson. Do you know where Brother Bartholomew's been keeping himself?
He's kept in his rooms all day long, sir. This morning he instructed me to deliver this to you, though, should you all scream.
He's done it! He's found the treasure! Miss Morstan, you are about to become a very wealthy woman! Follow me, everyone! very wealthy woman. How wonderful, I suppose. Oh, now don't get me wrong. I was excited for her. She deserved all the wealth this treasure would bring. It's just that Mary, the orphan of a military father to whom I'd lost my heart, was about to become Miss Morstan, the fabulously wealthy socialite with whom I had no chance.
As I suspected, Sherlock is concealed in a secret compartment low on the east side of my very own room. The hammer and pry bar, I easily opened up a passage and retrieved an ornate yet very heavy iron chest. I'm now excited. Even now as I write to you, the chest sits in the center of the floor, awaiting your arrival. We should open it together. Something devilish is afoot, Watson. What do you make of it, Doctor? Oh God! What does this mean, Holmes? It means murder, Doctor. Murder? Murder. Look here, Doctor. Just above his left ear.
That looks like a thorn.
It is a thorn. You may pick it out. Be careful. It is poisoned.
This is all an insoluble mystery to me, Holmes. It grows darker instead of clearer.
On the contrary, it clears every instant. I only require a few missing links to have an entirely connected case. The treasure is gone! There is a hole in the wall, just as he wrote. But no iron chest in the middle of the floor. Gone! Oh, gone!
Please, calm down, Mr. Sholto.
And my brother is murdered! And the police will be called in. I shall be suspected of having a hand in it. Surely you can't expect me to remain calm, Doctor. Unless you think I did this. But of course not.
You'd hardly have brought us here to discover your own crime.
Oh dear. Oh dear. I know I shall go mad. Perhaps it would benefit to have you in a different room, Mr. Sholto. Why don't you go back downstairs and notify the authorities? The police? No. They'll think I did it. No police. Not at all. But what will they think if you do not notify them? They will find out eventually. It is inevitable. Yes, I suppose so.
Of course. You should go notify the police immediately. Take Miss Morstan with you. She can look over your husband.
No, I want to help.
But Mary, there's a body. A dead body. Surely you don't want to subject yourself to.
The body being already dead can do me no harm, Doctor. And the treasure being one half mine will be a great benefit to me. I insist on doing my part to rescue it. Mr. Shelter, take this poor woman with you. Notify the police and wait with her until they arrive. She needs comfort.
Yes, Miss Morstan. I'll do as you say.
But Mary.
Do not butt me, Doctor. There's a body here. Should you not be examining it?
Well, yes, but
I wouldn't butt her over you, Doctor.
right.
And Mr. Holmes, as a consulting detective, should you not be, well, detecting something?
Well, yes, but
Don't butt her, Holmes.
right. Observation and deduction. No buts. Now, if the two of you would please refrain from touching anything, I I shall proceed to the detective.
Detective. Yes.
Poor man. Was he poisoned?
Most likely.
Did he suffer? Of course he must have suffered. Just look at his face. The poison was on the thorn you extracted from his scalp?
Evidently.
A blowgun! Someone crept into the room and shot Brother Bartholomew with a blowgun!
Absurd, Miss Morstan. That is a presumption. Pure presumption.
Actually, Doctor, I would call that a deduction. An excellent deduction, Miss Morstan. I believe you are correct. Well done.
Yes. Quite.
Have you found anything yet, Doctor?
How the blazes am I supposed to find anything with you standing in my light? I can't see a blasted thing.
I'm sorry, I'll just step away.
I'm sorry, Miss Morstan. I shouldn't have.
Mary.
What?
I prefer for you to call me Mary.
Well, then you must call me John.
John.
I hope you don't think that I thought you were in the way, because I didn't think anything of the kind. I just thought that you would think that I was thinking that...
Dear God, Watson, would you please just finish your examination of the body? When we have solved the case, then the two of you can coo and woo to your heart's content.
Coo and
Of course, Mr. Holmes. As the doctor, John, finishes his examination, I shall explore the secret room.
Don't touch anything.
Not to worry, Mr. Harris. Quite dusty.
Years of accumulated dust, I should think.
Do be careful, Miss Morstan. I shouldn't like it if you were to get injured.
And I shouldn't like if you smudge any prints that may have been left in all that blessed dust.
I will be careful of both myself and any prints that might be... Oh my.
Mary, are you all right?
Please tell me you didn't smudge anything.
I'm unharmed and I didn't smudge anything. But there are prints. Footprints. Tiny naked footprints. Could a child be involved in this horrid business?
A child? With no shoes? Well, that makes no sense.
On the contrary, Watson, it fits perfectly with what I've discovered here in this room.
What have you found?
A note on the body, a rope in the corner, and one footprint on the windowsill.
A note? Well, does it perchance match the one we found on old nature shelter? The sign of 4.
An exact duplicate, with Morstan, Shelter, Small, and Tolmer written on the back. Very good, Watson. Care to speculate on the rest?
Speculate. Call it what it is, Holmes. Deduction. Now, we have a length of rope in the corner, probably used to gain entrance. From the window, perhaps.
Perhaps. Although it is latched on the inside.
And the print on the windowsill is from a small, naked child.
Watson, you're doing so well. No. The print on the sill is made by a man, not a child.
A naked man?
A man dressed and wearing boots, I should say. Heavy work boots. What is peculiar about our man is that he stood upon the sill with only one footprint. One footprint and a round mark.
Round mark. One footprint. One footprint. The one-legged scoundrel.
Old Pegfoot, the man made to show no fear.
With good reason, it seems. And the round mark must have been left by his peg leg.
Well, what does old Pegfoot have to do with all this?
An excellent question, Miss Morstan. I hope to soon have an answer to that. What else do you see in there?
I can see where the treasure chest sat for so long. By the way the dust is disturbed, it looks as if Brother Bartholomew dragged it into his room. It must have been fairly heavy. There are deep scratches in the floor. There appears to be a small door, a hatch. It is partially open.
Does this hatch lead out onto the roof, Miss Morstan? Miss Morstan?
Mary, are you all right?
I'm fine, John. Now stop worrying about me and look after
do you see from them, Miss Morstan? Any clues?
We'll get down from there. This is
What kind of clues, Mr. Holmes?
just like it will break her neck.
See if you can tell how a person, a very small person, could get access to the roof from the outside.
Just like it will break every bone in her body.
There's a drain pipe in the corner. It appears to be pulled slightly away from the wall that enters it.
Excellent, Miss Morstan. Mary, please, come down from there at once.
Yes, John, I'll be right in.
Thank you.
These shingles are long overdue for replacement. They're falling apart. Oh! Wait! Tucked up against the wall is a stack of barrels. One of them seems to have been pulled slightly across the grass to sit right beneath your window.
Excellent again, Miss Morstan. Now, if you would, please escape back to the house before our good doctor named his learned mitral valve.
My mitral valve is doing just fine, thank you. What do you suppose is in the barrels?
Could be almost anything. A rundown man such as this is bound to have repair material stacked in every available corner. With the roof in disrepair, it could be nails, or glue, or boards.
Whatever it is, it seems like our one-legged scoundrel has tracked some of it in.
Creosote! It is creosote! Doctor, you are a brilliant man!
I am?
You are absolutely brilliant! With a single observation, you have apprehended our man. Men, actually. I can't imagine you'll find one without the other.
What did I miss?
You missed our dear, ingenious doctor wrapping up our case in this morning. No wonder you fell in love with him. I'm happy in love with myself.
Love?
Yes.
Yes, love. Don't tell me you hadn't observed it. It was quite clear from the moment you met.
Well, not to change the subject as uncomfortable as it is, but would you mind pointing out a few things, Mr. Holmes? You see, I'm a bit confused as to how all of these clues add up.
Of course, Miss Morstan. You are my client after all, so I owe you a thorough explanation. Doctor, would you mind filling up the facts of this grim situation for our client?
This grim situation? Oh, you mean the murder? Yes, of course. Let's see. We have a murder apparently committed in a locked room. Windows shut tight, length of rope in the corner, note found on the body.
May I see the note?
We have footprints from two suspects. One seems to be a one-legged man wearing a heavy work boot. The other seems to be a small, naked child. Have I been fairly accurate?
Fairly accurate indeed, Doctor. Let us now turn our deductive skills towards our second thing.
The naked child.
Yes, Miss Morstan, the naked child. What if it was not in fact a child, but a fully grown man?
A fully grown man the size of a child.
Or a pygmy, or aboriginal man.
Excellent, Watson. There are several tribes in African Australia who grow no larger than an average British child.
The blood of it fits perfectly with the theory.
And would it be so far-fetched to believe that an aboriginal or pygmy man would have a name like Tonga?
Not at all far-fetched, Miss Morstan. To lead us to the identity of culprit number 1, Mode Pegfoot.
Mr. Small.
Morstan, Sholto, Small, and Tonga. The sign of 4.
Your father, Miss Morstan, and Major Sholto, evidently teamed up with these other two other concerns.
But why would my father be friends with evil men?
War, just like politics, makes them a strange bedfellows.
The treasure, Mary. The treasure brought them together.
Miss Watson, somehow before them came in possession of a fabulous treasure to be split between them. Sholto comes on first, bringing the treasure with him.
Then my father arrives and goes to Major Sholto for a share. They argue and his heart fails. He dies. And then Mr. Small and Mr. Tonga arrive.
By this point, Sholto's greed has consumed him. He refuses to divide the treasure for greed. Small and Tonga are forced to watch and wait for an opportunity to steal back their share.
On the night of Major Sholto's death, they were watching from the window. Sholto sees them and is scared to death. Literally.
And unfortunately for our two rogues, he dies without divulging where he has hidden the treasure.
So it's back to watching and waiting until Brother Buckholm brings the treasure into the light.
Then Tonga, big and agile as a wind, makes his way through the hatch by way of the drain pipe on the roof, kills Bartholomew with a poison dart, unlatches the window, and loads her up for Small, who's waiting outside, standing on the cracked barrel of Crescent.
Small climbs the rope, leaving his footprint on the sill. Then he uses the rope to lower the treasure onto the ground, and then after leaving the note on Brother Bartholomew, he escapes out the window down the road.
He drops the rope. Tonga coils it up and drops it in the corner. He lashes the window and makes his own escape through the hatch and back down the drain pipe. Brilliant!
But how do we catch them? They're surely making their way out of the country even as we speak.
Not to worry, Miss Watson. For your own dear Dr. Watson has provided us with the means of tracking them down. Watson, you must go quickly to number 3 Pinchin Lane, down near the water's edge at Lambeth.
Number 3, Pinchin Lane.
The third house on the right-hand side belongs to a Mrs. Sherman. She is a bird stuffer.
I'm to visit a lady taxidermist. Whatever for?
Tell her, with my compliments, that I want to see Toby at once. You'll bring Toby back in a cab.
And Toby is her son.
A dog. A queer mongrel with most amazing power of scent.
The creosote on Small's foot. Toby can track him.
To hell and back again, I should say. Now, get moving, Doctor. Time is short. Miss Mawson, why don't you go check out our heads? While I do a little research as if I can dig up on our Mr. Small. What are you waiting for, Watson? Quickly, man.
Right, number 3, Pinchin Lane. Third house, right-hand side, lady taxidermist.
You'll see a stuffed weasel holding a young rat in the front window. You can't miss it.
Be careful, Tom.
Lady taxidermist. Well, a junior consulting detective meets all kinds, I suppose. Pinchin Lane was a row of 2-story shabby houses on the lower quarter of Lambeth. The cabbie deposited me in front of number 3 and said to wait. There was indeed a stuffed weasel holding a young rabbit in the front window. Delightful. I had to knock on the door for some time before I could make any impression. At last, however, there was a glint of a candle in the window.
Go on, you drunken vagabond. If you don't clear out of here, I'm going to open up the kennels and let out 43 dogs upon you.
Oh, well, if you just let her one, I'll have exactly what I've come for.
Go on, so help me gracious. I'll drop you right in the river if you don't hook it.
Oh, but I need a dog.
Oh, I won't be argued with. You clear out on the count of 3 before you to the river with you.
But Miss Sherman,
1,
well, you don't understand.
2,
I just need to borrow one and
3. Mr. Sherlock Holmes,
Yes, he sent me to ask for that. Miss Sherman, please let me down.
Oh!
Now what can I do for you and Mr. Sherlock Holmes?
Right. He sent me to ask you
Oh,
about...
he is a marvel, he is such a
Indeed. He sent me to ask you...
Oh, is he well, sir? He's not in any trouble, is he? Just let me get a nice heavy brick and I'll bash him hard. Right side is now good pointy head.
Right. Miss Sherman, whose head?
Rather dirty now because he travelled from Mr. Sherlock Holmes. That's his head.
He's currently not in any trouble. He's doing quite well at the moment, actually. He's asking for your assistance. Right.
Mr. Sherlock Holmes is my assistant.
Damn. Whatever he needs, damn.
What is it that he needs?
He needs a dog. One that can follow a scent. He asked for me to ask for...
Oh, it'll be my Toby, it'll be one of them. That dog's nose is pure... Let me fetch him.
Thank you, Miss Sherman.
What is it?
Well, that's Toby. Quite a dog, and he got him when he was a small bat.
so ugly.
That is though. But his nose. His nose.
It's a pure miracle, yes, I heard. I best get him to Mr. Holmes. Come on, Toby.
Just get a good hold of his lead, sir. You've got to show him who's in charge.
No, he won't come.
Toby Hill!
Off you go, sir. You've already gone to Mr. Sherlock.
Oh, Toby's got that!
Don't worry, sir. He only does that if he likes you. Now, be firm, and when you're through with him, just untie his rope and let him run. He'll find his way away.
Toby, sit. Good boy, Toby. Stay. He just has to know who's in charge. Is the cabby waiting? Are you mad? After all that hateful beast in the inside of his coach, we would be lucky to ever be able to hail a cab again. No matter. Detective Lestrade is here. He can provide transport for this mortal one you and I will not over.
Are you not going to the detective?
I'm not running anywhere. That slaughter, howling, flea infested. Oh, hello, man.
These bags will be packed off to the closet in your room. Hello, John.
Miss Morton, surely you
Mr.
don't.
Holmes, surely you don't intend.
That is enough. Mr. Holmes, Miss Morstan is our client. We should do as she wishes.
Oh, that is the point, Dr. Watson.
Mayor, Mr. Holmes was just looking out for your safety. And I am perfectly aware there is a grown woman who are quite capable of looking after yourself. But as a consulting detective in your employ, Mr. Holmes has an obligation to promote your safety.
True, I suppose.
I propose a compromise. Mary shall join in the search of Toby. I shall go as well to make sure our client suffers no mischief.
Speaking of mischief, Detective Lestrade has solved our mystery.
It was hardly a mystery at all, Doctor. It took but a moment for a trained eye such as mine to see through this. Further,
Would you mind explaining the whole matter once more, Detective? I'm sure my associates should find your deductive reasoning inspiring.
of course. But let us dispense with the deductive reason, and instead apply a little common sense to that. Thaddeus Shelter was with his brother. They had a quarrel over the division of the treasure. Now the brother is dead and the jewels are gone, so much we know.
So much we know indeed. What else, Detective?
You will observe that Thaddeus Shelter is evidently in a most disturbed state of mind. His appearance is, well, not attractive.
Of course my mind is disturbed. My brother's murdered. You think I did it?
As you can see, I am reading my record of Thaddeus.
But, Detective, you're not quite in possession of all the facts. Here, this thorn, which I have every reason to believe to be poisoned, was found on a murdered man's scalp. You should still be able to see the mark. This note was pinned on his chest. How do those fit into your theory?
Confirms it, in every respect. This house is full of odd curiosities and foreign patterns. Thaddeus may as well have made use of them as any other man. Even he would do that.
You! Listening?
The card is some purpose, obliged as like
But the door and the window were locked from the inside, Detective. How did he depart?
easily, Miss Marston. There is a hole in the bedroom wall.
He can find something. He has occasional glimmerings of reason.
The hole is quite low at floor level. You probably didn't even notice it. Inside the hole is a small secret room. And in that secret room is a trapdoor that lets out onto the roof. And that is how our murderer escaped the lodge.
Are you quite sure of that, Lestrade?
Quite. In his hurry to escape, he left the door open.
I must not have closed it.
Detective, Thaddeus Sholto was with us the whole time. How could he have escaped without us noticing?
Thaddeus Sholto is a criminal genius, a master of deception. He escaped with the help of his accomplice, Mrs. Smudge. She distracted you, with tea and cakes most likely, while Thaddeus slipped away to commit his heinous crime. It is my duty to inform you both that anything you may say will be used against you. I arrest you in the Queen's name as being concerned in the death of one Bartholomew Sholto.
Didn't I tell you? Don't trouble yourself about it, Mr. Sholto. I'm sure I can engage to clear you of the charge.
Don't promise too much, Mr. Theorist. Don't promise too much.
Not only will I free him, Mr. Scott, I will provide you a free present with the names and descriptions of the two people who were in that room while all the show.
I have those two people in custody right now.
We will start with Mr. Small. I have every reason to believe he is a poorly educated man, not very large, but strong and very active. His right leg is off and he wears a wooden stump one way on the inside.
Mr. Small, you say? Whither was it made? Oh, do continue, Mr. Holmes. This is quite entertaining.
His left boot is a coarse, square-toed silk lined band up in the middle. He is a middle-aged man, much sunburned, and may have been a convict.
How in heaven's name does he know these things?
Observation and deduction is what it is.
These few indications may be of some use to you, Lestrade. Come with the fact that he's missing a good deal of skin from the palm of his hand.
The rope. He must have found bits of skin on the rope.
Yes, I'm certain of it.
Very enlightening, Mr. Holmes. And what of the other man?
Aha, the other man. He is a curious person. Barefoot and approximately the size of a 4-year-old child.
A shoeless midget.
Probably born up on the islands of Australia or India. His name is Tonga.
Yes, I am sure that it is.
I hope before very long we can introduce you to the pair of them.
There is no need for that, Mr. Holmes. I can introduce myself to both of them right now. Good evening, Mr. Tonga. I almost didn't recognize you with your shoes on. And you have grown a bit too, haven't you? Quite tall for a 4-year-old. That was making Mr. Small. Gracious me, it looks like you're missing back a miracle indeed. Now, if you would accompany me both to the station, we have some paperwork to fill out.
Save me, Mr. Holmes! This foreign policeman! Do not fear, Mr. Sholto. Detective Lestrade, have you an extra seat in your carriage?
Would you join us, Mr. Holmes? I would be honored.
Excellent. If you would, just drop me off at the Times newspaper. I should like to have a chat with my good friend on the night.
Bringing your chum a good story, eh? Whose version? Yours or mine?
Why, yours, of course, detective. Exactly as it were right from your lips.
Your word on it.
I would have it no other way. Watson, a word, please.
I thought you were going tracking thus.
Plans change, Doctor. Here, take my hand. I'd love to accept from the window. Give Toby the scent. Follow where he leads, and for God's sake, keep our client safe.
But where will he be? What will he do? How will I
Find yourself, Doctor. We have no time for anxiety. I have some research to do as real as the measure. Must all be done before morning. Follow Toby where he leads. Escort Miss Nelson home, and I shall meet you at Baker Street.
You are to say that we are to be alone. Married now. Without you.
Does that prospect frighten you, Doctor?
Yes. I don't know. Frightened? No.
Me?
No.
Mary?
No.
You will be fine, my friend. The both of you. I wouldn't leave you with one of the utmost importance. I trust you, then.
Thank you for the confidence.
It seems that the two of you will have the rest of the night to yourselves. I suggest you make the most of it.
Are you coming with us, Miss Mac?
On my way, Detective. Remember, Watson, observation and deduction.
I believe those are the last 2 words in the English language I shall never forget.
We will make sure your friend at the Times spells my name correctly in the morning paper, won't you, Mr. Hunt?
To the letter, Detective Strahd. To the letter.
So I was... No.
You go first.
No, you speak first. This is my very first investigation. You are the more experienced one, so you should speak first.
All right then. We should begin tracking. I've sent for Toby to follow. We should set out at once. You should stay close to me for safety. And we'll see where the dog takes us.
As you say, John. What is that?
That is Toby.
Yes, but
What is that?
He's a dog. An excellent tracker, I'm told.
I thought all dogs had 4 legs.
He does, I think.
No, I only count 3.
Oh, that's just because he's laying down. When he's standing, he definitely has 4. And wings, I'm pretty sure. You'll see, it's his nose we're concerned with. It's a pure miracle.
I'll take your word for it, John. May I hold the rope?
Yes, I suppose so. I have the scent for Toby to follow. Come, Toby. Oh! Be firm with him, Mary. He needs to know you're in charge. Oh, watch out for the... Oh! Be careful of the... Oh. Ouch. Don't worry. I caught up with them fairly quickly. Toby was dragging Mary around in circles. Once we got sorted out, I gave Toby the scent. He cast about for a moment or two, but then he found the trail. It was like a bolt of lightning shot through the world's ugliest dog. If Toby running has 4 legs, Toby on the scent has 6, maybe 7. He took us on a back alley tour of London. Down back alleys, up muddy streets, under clotheslines, festooned with laundry, over ditches, into the night, until finally he stopped on a shaky old wharf with a falling down shack with a sign that advertised boat rentals.
I let him loose. He ran off towards home, I suppose.
Probably, unless there was some other business he had that he didn't tell us about.
Who knows? There's probably a rotten pile of garbage that we could plow through, or clothesline open and snap. I wonder whose stocking this belongs to.
What do we have here? Miss Mordecai's boats to rent by hour or day, punts, skiffs, and steam launch.
Fastest steam launch on the river. And why would we? Well, there's no steam launch tied here.
Well, this is bad. If our culprits have escaped on the fastest steam launch of the river, we'll be hard-pressed to catch up to them.
Oh, John, what do we do now?
Well, I know what Mr. Holmes would do. He would knock on the door, totally ignoring the hour, and ask some very pointed questions at our proprietress, Miss Mordecai.
And that is exactly what we shall do.
What are you doing? It's far too late to drag someone to the door.
What you just said is exactly what Mr. Holmes would do.
But Mr. Holmes is not here.
Which is why we must do it for him.
Mary, we are not knocking on this door. It is far too late. Everyone will be asleep.
Nothing's asleep. You're rowling me up. Now get off my wharf before I dunk you in the river.
You must be Mrs. Mordecai.
Dump us in the river? It was the second time this evening I've heard that threat. Wait. Stop. You're not Miss Mordecai. You are...
I am, and I should know, shouldn't I?
Of course you're Mrs. Mordecai. I'm so dreadfully sorry to look you. We wouldn't have disturbed you if it wasn't urgent.
But she looks exactly like...
Not now, John.
I won't bring you a boat at this time of night, no matter how urgent it is.
Miss Mordecai, has anybody ever told you you look exactly
I
like...
must apologize to my companion. It's been a long and trying evening.
That's quite all right, my dear. I'm quite accustomed to people reacting to me like this. I'm sure you must have noticed the resemblance in turn.
Resemblance? To who?
Well, that's what I've been trying to tell you. She looks exactly like...
The legendary state. Irene.
What? No.
Actually, now that mentioning that fancy like this.
No. She looks exactly like Miss Sherman.
That's because Mrs. Sherman is my sister. And she don't look half as much like Irene Adler as I do.
No, Madame, you're quite right. You look much more like Miss Adler than your sister does.
Even that one-legged man noticed the resemblance, and Mary Jonathan has the pickiest, squeakiest looking likeness I've ever seen on a human being.
One leg.
Do you mean Jonathan Small?
Yes. No. Maybe. What do you think?
Well, Mr. Small is an acquaintance of ours.
Yes, and you haven't seen him for quite some time. Do you perchance know if he's staying in town?
No, I don't know anyone of that name.
But the one good man. Jonathan, you just said that he...
Don't know no one named Man. Don't know no Jonathan neither.
But you just said...
No, we must have been mistaken. You must forgive us, Miss Adler.
It's more.
Oh, yes, please forgive my mistake in this indirect lighting. You could serve Miss Adler's twin. Don't you agree, Mary?
Yes, of course.
Now, Miss Adler. Mordecai, we're here to inquire about your steam launch.
Oh, you mean my Aurora?
Yes, we'd like to rent the Aurora.
Oh, she's already written to somebody else. For the next few days, I'm sorry, call back in a week.
Let somebody else pilot the Aurora for a few days.
Are you done? When you pilot the Aurora, it's me who captains her. I'm a one and only captain.
As I suspected.
Where is the Aurora?
Where is she?
Yes, Captain. I see punts, I see skiffs, I see no steam launch.
She's in for repairs. I'm sorry, call back in a week.
But you just said that someone had already rented her out for the next few days. Surely you can't charge rent on a launch while she's being repaired.
Sorry I couldn't help you. Call back in a week and rent my skip, why don't you? Oh, and get off my roof! Or I will dump you.
Well, back to your phone letter. What now?
Well, I suppose I should escort you home and then report our findings to Mr. Holmes.
Exactly what findings do you have to report?
Well, we know our suspects came to this wharf. That odious woman was obviously lying to us.
We discovered the one-legged man's first name.
Jonathan, yes, and that he's hiding out on the Aurora somewhere, waiting for things to quiet down so he can escape down the river.
Probably to the Americas or some other country out of our reach. With my treasure.
Well, suppose we should catch a cab.
We didn't talk much on the ride home. I don't know what thoughts filled Mary's head, but mine were full of thoughts of the treasure. That blasted, ill-gotten treasure. Part of it, probably half of it, now rightfully belonged to her. If there was any chance of recovering it, I was willing to devote my life to that one purpose, even if it meant losing her forever. But it would be a selfish and petty love that would be influenced by such a thought. Well, a few hours sleep and a bath at Baker Street freshened me up wonderfully.
Oh, well, you certainly are cheerful this morning. It would be difficult to be glum with our case going so bad. Here, look at this. See the headline?
Mysterious business at Upper Knoll.
Yes, that's the one. I had Detective Lestrade join in the newspaper office so we could talk to a reporter himself. Ah, but you've had enough of this case. I'd better have your tea first.
At about 10 o'clock last night, Bartholomew Sholto was found dead in his room under circumstances which point to foul play. Well, it looks like they got that much right anyway.
Read on, read on. It is brilliant.
Although no physical traces of violence were found upon the body, a valuable collection of Indian gems, which the deceased had inherited, had been carried off. The discovery was first made by Mr. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, who had called upon the house to meet with Thaddeus Sholto, brother of the deceased. Well, there's no mention of Mary.
No, but keep reading. My favorite part is coming up.
By a singular piece of good fortune.
This is it. This is it.
By a singular piece of good fortune, Mr. Lestrade, a well-known member of the detective police force, happened to be at the Norwood station and was on the grounds within the first half hour of the alarm.
Skip to the parts about his technical knowledge and powers of minute observation.
Oh yes, here it is. Mr. Lestrade's technical knowledge and well-known powers of observation allowed him to prove conclusively that there was no way the miscreants could have entered via the door or window, but they had run across the roof and made their way in through a trap door. Yes, but we had all that figured out before they had arrived.
Yes, but you still haven't read the best part. Here, there it is. His trained and experienced faculties were at once directed towards the apprehension of the criminals. The gratifying result of the brother, Mr. Thaddeus showed him, had already been arrested, along with the housekeeper, Mrs. Smythe.
Well, that is terrible.
On the contrary, Watson, it is perfect. I couldn't have written it better myself.
But Holmes, you know just as well as I do that Thaddeus Shelter and his housekeeper did not kill Brother Bartholomew.
A fact which will, in time, free our justly incarcerated friends, Doctor. But in the meantime, put yourself in the place of Mr. Small.
Jonathan, we discovered his given name last night. Jonathan.
You are correct. Jonathan Small. Convict. Up until about 8 years ago, serving out his sentence on the Port Blair convict barracks on Rutland Island, in India.
How did you come across this information?
Research, Doctor. Do you think I sat my hands last night at the newspaper offices while Lestrade was busy tooting his own horn? I used the time and the distraction to do some very productive research. Would you care to venture a guess at whose regiment is stationed as guards on Port Blair?
Whose regiment? Morstons and Shelters, no doubt.
No doubt at all. I couldn't find any record of Tom, but the newspaper's file was hardly comprehensive. I'm sure that you will too find that he served time in Port Blair.
So we have 2 prison guards, 2 convicts, who have all entered into a deal to split a treasure 4 ways. The prison guards are now deceased, and the convicts have run off with the treasure.
But where did they run off to? Where did my friend Toby take the tube last night?
Your friend, Mr. Holmes, took us on a back alley tour of London. He took us down streets I certainly never knew existed.
Excellent. And where did the trail end?
The shaky old wharf on the end of Lambeth, an establishment run by a Miss Mordecai.
Mordecai? Would this be the same Mrs. Mordecai who captains the steam launch Aurora?
The fastest steam launch on the river, one and the same. But how did you know?
I went down to the docks this morning to ask a few questions. It seems that the Aurora is exactly what her lady captain claimed she is. And now that Toby has confirmed my suspicions, we can begin to orchestrate an end to this queer business which our fair client introduced us.
You're too late. The Aurora is gone. Miss Mordecai said she was in for repairs, but I am certain she was lying.
Believe me, sir, if Mrs. Mordecai was at home, the Aurora is not very far away. We can find her, sir, never doubt.
Well, you're off again already. Did you get any sleep at all last night?
No. I have a curious constitution. I never remember feeling tired by work, but idleness exhausts me completely. I am off, down to the river. I shouldn't be more than an hour or 3.
Well, I'll come with you.
No, my friend. You'd be far more useful to me if you remain here as my representative. I want you to open any letters and telegrams, but you act in your best judgment when any news comes. Can I rely upon you?
Most certainly.
I shall have news of the Aurora of one sort or the other before I return.
He did not return in an hour, or 3. I consumed my breakfast, read a bit, had a light lunch, and was considering dinner when finally I heard footsteps at the door.
Have you seen this? It is perfectly horrible. I took Mr. Holmes to clear this all up. Where's Mr. Holmes?
Down by the river, I should think, looking for the Aurora. He left me in his stead to take care of anything that turns up.
Has anything turned up?
Well, just a few.
Yes, well, I received this note from Mr. Holmes about 2 hours ago.
Meet at Baker Street, 4 p.m.
I know I'm a bit early, but I couldn't bear the business living room floor any longer. Hope you don't mind.
Not at all. Feel free to pace my living room floor. I have already run a path in the carpet with
said last night. It has given me an insight.
Oh, I've said something insightful.
Just before we found the cab, he said that Mr. Small and Mr. Tombo were probably hiding themselves on the Aurora, waiting until things quieted down.
Yes, I remember.
Suppose you were correct. Then suppose that Mr. Small reads this morning's paper.
He'd see Thaddeus Shelter had been arrested for murder.
And the police think the incident is closed.
He's sure to feel safe to move about now.
Which probably means he will make a run for it very soon. Probably today. We may already be too late.
No, I don't think they've run off just yet. He's been very careful of Jonathan Small. I think he'll wait till nightfall. Besides, even in London, a peg-legged man accompanied by an aborigine from the Andaman Islands is bound to cause a stir in broad daylight.
How do you know that Tonga's from the Andaman Islands? And if you say observation and deduction, I shall have to chop off your head.
Well, we can't have that now, can we? No, it was research, Miss Morstan. Pure and unadulterated research. Did you think I just sat here on my hands all morning? Here, I've marked the page.
The Andaman Islands, situated 340 miles south of Sumatra and the Bay of Bengal.
It continues, got the moist climate, coral reefs, sharks, that type of thing. Drop into the middle of the page, the part about the Aborigines.
Ah, here we are. The Aborigines of the Andaman Islands may perhaps claim the distinction of being the smallest race upon the earth. Their average height is rather below 4 feet. They have large misshapen heads, small fierce eyes, and distorted features. Their hands and feet are remarkably small. Lovely, that sounds like our Tonga.
Further on, the article speaks of poison darts and blowguns and cannibal feasts.
It seems as if Tonga is an amiable fellow indeed. I can't wait to meet him.
Quite. But this is all quite the story you've wrapped us all up in.
It is a romance, John. A wronged woman, a fortune and treasure, a cannibal and a one-legged ruffian. They take the place of the conventional dragon with the earth.
And 2 knights riding into the rescue. Well, not that I see myself as a knight. or that you need to be rescued. Or
But you have been gallant through it all, John.
Or how?
The best of nights. I couldn't hope for it.
Indeed. Well, imagine that. Ah, that must be Mr. Holmes' return at last.
Oh, detective.
Come in, why don't you? I suppose you received a letter from Mr. Holmes as well.
Yes, meet at latest 4 p.m. It is just about that time now, so where is Mr. Holmes?
You know, I have no idea.
But if he set an appointment for 4, he's bound to be here momentarily. Oh, well, that's probably him now.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Is Mr. Sherlock? Is Mr. Sherlock Holmes there?
No.
But I am acting in his stead. You can tell me any message that you have for him, and I'll let him know.
No. It was to him himself I was to tell it.
Well, I tell you that I am acting in his stead. Was it about Miss Mordecai's boat?
Yes, I know where it is. I know where the man is after it. I know where the treasure is.
Well, then tell me and I'll let him know.
No, it was to him himself I was to tell it.
Then you must wait here for him.
I ain't going to hold dead big Mr. Sherlock Holmes. If he ain't here, he can find it all out for himself. I don't care to look at either of you, and I won't say a word.
Wait a minute. You have important information and you must not be walking on. We will keep you here whether you like it or not.
Pray so treat me, this is.
It is past 4. Where is Sherlock Holmes?
I have no clue. It is so utterly unlike him to be late.
Don't be Lestrade. You enjoy a good cigar every now and then, do you not?
If by now and then, as often as possible, then yes, I do.
Then you must try one of Mr. Holmes' cigars. He has them imported at great expense.
Sounds lovely. You're sure Mr. Holmes wrote it?
Oh, no, not at all. Take 2, take 3. You would insist upon it. Wouldn't you, Mr. Holmes?
I most certainly would not. What gave me away?
Your punctuality.
Explain, please, Doctor.
I know very well that if Mr. Holmes sets an appointment for 4 p.m., he will indeed be there at 4 p.m. sharp. And so,
It was past 4. Mr. Holmes was nowhere to be seen. Yet the old man was here. Therefore, the old man must be Sherlock Holmes.
Bravo, Doctor. I was betrayed by my own virtue.
That was quite a performance, Mr. Holmes. You really should be on the stage.
You are a rogue, sir. If the doctor hadn't seen through you, we would have waited for you all afternoon.
It is because the Doctor was so absurd. But in the time that it is games any longer. Things are moving quickly. Have any of you seen this afternoon edition of the Times?
Only the early edition.
What did you find in the last revision?
With hope that Jonathan Smalls and informs the truth.
with regards to the Upper Norwood tragedy, fresh evidence has presented itself that proves conclusively that Mr. Thaddeus Sholto and his housekeeper could not have been involved in any way in the matter.
Rubbish! That man is guilty, I know it, but fresh evidence.
Probably the tiny footprints in the dust in the secret room. They were far too small to be Thaddeus Sholto.
Or possibly the testimony of 3 witnesses which provide Mr. Sholto with an airtight alibi. Read on, Doctor.
The police have a clue as to the real culprits, and it is being prosecuted by Detective Lestrade with all his known energy and sagacity. Further arrests are expected at any moment.
A clue? What was a clue? How can they expect further arrests at any moment?
That, detective, is exactly why I brought you here. You see, this article, while it is good news for our friend Thaddeus, it may cause us some problems with Mr. Small Street, but hope you only saw this morning's account.
You want him to believe that the case is closed and is safe to move about. You deliberately let this morning's paper run the street cat, hoping to flush the villains from their lair. Brilliant!
They released my two prisoners!
Not to worry. I shall give you 2 others in place of them, but you must put yourself under my orders. You're welcome to all the official credit, but you must act in the lines that I point out. Is that agreed?
Entirely. If you would have me do them.
Well then, I shall want a fast police boat, a steam launch, to be at the Westminster Stair at 7 o'clock.
That is easily managed. There is always one out there. 7 o'clock, you say? We'll be ready.
Miss Watson, I don't suppose I can do the intrude await the outcome of the case from the safety of your own home.
I'm afraid not, Mr. Holmes. I insist on joining you for the chase.
In that case, I insist on you joining us for dinner. It'll be ready in half an hour. I will be the cab at 6:30. Watson, have you a pistol?
I should have my old service revolver in my desk.
Best bring it then. It is well to be prepared. Miss Watson, if you would, accompany me to the dining room, please.
Our meal was a merry one. Holmes could talk exceedingly well when he chose to, and that night he did choose. I have never known him to be so brilliant. He'd spoken on a quick succession of subjects, on miracle plays, on medieval pottery, the Buddhism of Ceylon, and warships of the future, handling each as though he had made a special study of the topic. All too soon, the clock was cleared and the cab was at the door. We reached the Westminster Wharf at 7.
If you would join me in the bow, Doctor, we'll leave the pilot in Lestrade's capable hands.
Where to, Mr. Holmes?
To the tower. Stop opposite Jacobson's boatyard.
Right, off we go then. Miss Watson, please stay in your seat and hold on tight. We're not wanting any accidents on this trip.
Whatever you say, Captain. We're moving awfully fast. You ought to be able to catch anything on the river.
I will tell you how the land lies. Something you said to me this morning forced me to think. Do you recollect what Mrs. Mordecai told you this Aurora was?
She said it was in for repairs, but I'm positive she was lying.
As am I. Putting myself in the place of Jonathan Small, I would have concealed the launch somewhere close by. Somewhere where I can have it underway within a couple of hours' notice.
Somewhere like a shipyard. You can hand the boat over to some shipbuilder or repair with directions to make some trifling change. That way it would be in the boatbuilder's shed up until the moment it was needed. That seems simple enough.
It is just these simple things which are extremely liable to be overlooked.
And that's where you were this afternoon, dressed as a shabby old seaman, inquiring at shipyards.
I drew a blank at 15 of them, but after the 16th, Jacobson's, I found the Aurora. I was just exiting the boatbuilder's shed when Mrs. Mordecai herself appeared.
A fine woman she is. You know she thinks she resembles Irene Adler.
No, I believe Mrs. Mordecai is the worst delivery. I should not have known who she was, I should not bear that her name and the name of her launch. She demanded that we ready at 8 o'clock tonight. Said she had 2 gentlemen who wouldn't be kept waiting.
We are approaching the tower now, Mr. Holmes. Jacobson's boatyard will be just ahead.
Excellent. If you would, just slip us into these shadows along the shoreline. We'll be in position to watch without being seen.
Right, Mr. Holmes.
Well, it's only 7:30. We could be waiting for a bit.
Very true, Doctor. On the other hand, maybe Mrs. Mordecai's boat exited the dockyard now.
Well, but they said 8. It's not nearly 8.
If there is one thing that has remained constant in all of our cases, Doctor, it is this. Never trust the villain. Stick to the shadows, Detective. We'll see how close we can get without being seen.
Faster, Captain! We're gonna start this blast river right now!
Full steam, Detective. It looks like the chase is on. Watson, have you a pistol?
Loaded and ready.
Watch the little man, Watson. If he raises his arm, you must shoot him.
Well, surely it's not so dangerous as that.
Remember the blowgun, and do not miss.
They're moving awfully fast, Detective. We won't be able to catch them.
Just leave that to me, miss.
We're gaining on them. Faster, Lestrade.
Don't worry, Doctor. Don't want to blow the engine. We'll catch them. Be patient.
Stop shooting!
Well done.
Diamond, keep up! No, keep going! We can lose them! Go, go, go!
It's not your fault. I've been filling full of holes now, is it?
That's what I paid you for! Now go!
We're heading near enough. Now come down a bit or I'll dunk you in the river with your little friend.
What's this? It is a thorn from little Tom's logo. I pulled it from the woodwork about 2 inches from where you were standing.
You mean here? I? Well, the poison. Oh, God, I thought we shot him before.
He was devastated with that logo. Amazingly accurate, too. Well, no matter. No harm done. Shall we see about opening that chest now, Miss Morton?
Yes, let's do.
You two, keep your hands where I can see them, and no fast movements. I am
Jonathan Small, I presume. I'll have to keep that chest now, if you would.
I ain't going! Lost.
Thank you, Mr. Small. This will do nicely. If you would do the honors, Miss.
Of course, Mr. Holmes, I would love to. Unbelievable.
What is it, Mary? What did you find?
Absolutely nothing.
What? You're crazy! It's full of gems and rubies and stuff!
No gems, no rubies, no stuff, Mr. Small. Care to explain? You mean you risked my life and my skin for approximately nothing?
No, it was there! It was full! I saw it! Me and Tonto first found it from there!
It is my duty to inform you both that anything you may say will be used against you. I arrest you in the Queen's name as being concerned in the death of one Bartholomew Sholto. Mr. Holmes, you may question these two further at the station, if you wish.
Yes, thank you, Detective. I will get on shortly.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mary. What about the treasure?
Oh, John, don't be ridiculous. I'm just as bad as chest was empty. I don't care about the treasure at all.
You don't? You would have gained an enormous fortune.
Yes, and all the headaches that come along with it. I don't need a fortune, John. Enormous otherwise. I'm happy as I am. At least now I know the truth about my father.
Well, I suppose I should escort you home then.
I would like that. Thank you, Mr. Holmes. These past few days have been remarkable.
Yes, quite.
Holmes, what is troubling you? The case is solved. You are right about everything.
Not everything, Doctor. We missed something. We missed someone.
Who? All the culprits are in custody, thanks to you. Who could we have missed?
Someone was pulling the strings, Doctor. Who wrote the note?
The note?
The note Miss Morton received along with the sixth pair. The note written by a different hand rather than just the packages.
I have no idea.
Neither do I, Doctor. Neither do I. Yet, someone set these events into motion. Sent the note to Miss Morstan, who sent Miss Morstan to us.
Surely you don't think.
Someone wanted that treasure, Doctor, but he couldn't get his hands on it while it was hidden away. He prodded Miss Morstan, who in turn prodded Mr. Shelton. Once the treasure was located and stolen, it was a simple matter to appropriate the treasure from the chest from the thieves who stole it in the first place.
But in order to have done all that, you would have been watching the Sholtos for years, watching Mary's father and Mary.
He is a string puller, Watson. He has marionettes to do the watching for him. There is a man, an extraordinary man.
A criminal mastermind.
Exactly. Please, escort Miss Morstan home, Watson. I have some questions to ask of Mr. Small. I shall see you back at Baker Street.
Well, there you have it. The series of events that I've come to think of as the Sign of Four, or at least that's the name that I gave it, once I wrote it up afterwards, for posterity. Time passed, Mary and I were wed. I moved out of 221B and started into private practice. My friend still asked me to accompany him from time to time when he required companionship. But he never stopped looking for the string puller, the one he saw behind the disappearance of my Mary's treasure. It became an obsession for him.
You have probably never heard of Professor Moriarty.
Never.
Aye, there's the genius and the wonder of the thing.
Well, I don't follow.
The man pervades London, and yet no one has heard of him. You yourself have written of his exploits time and again, yet you profess no knowledge of the man himself.
Well, I've never... Professor Moriarty, you say? No, I've never written
A
of him.
study in scarlet, a scandal in Bohemia. You recognize them?
Well, yes, those are all cases of yours.
The red-headed league, the man with the twisted lip, the 5 orange pips.
Yes, all cases of yours that I have chronicled. But
The sign of 4.
oh, we're talking about your string puller, the one behind Mary's stolen treasure. But what has he to do with all those other cases?
He is the organizer, half as evil, and nearly always undetected in this great city. We have been in his shadow from the very beginning of our association. I tell you, Watson, in all seriousness, if I could beat this man, if I could rid society of him, I should feel as if my own career had reached its summit.
What has he done?
Oh, he is the Napoleon of crime, Watson. He is a genius, a philosopher, an abstract thinker. He has a brain of the first order.
But what has he done?
Oh, he does little himself. He only plans. He sits motionless like a spider in the center of his web. Is there a crime to be done? A house to be rifled? A man to be removed? Word is passed to the professor, the matter is organized and carried out.
Well, there must be some way to bring this man to justice.
I have my plan laid, all will be well. In fact, matters progressed so far that we move without my help as far as the arrest goes. My presence will, of course, be necessary for a conviction.
Well, splendid. Is there anything I can do of assistance?
Yes, actually. I cannot do better than to get away for the few days which remain before the police are at liberty to act. It would be a great pleasure, therefore, if you would come onto the continent with me.
Well, my practice is quiet. Mary is on a visit for a few weeks.
I should be delighted to join you,
And to start tomorrow morning?
if necessary.
Oh yes, it is most necessary.
Well, it shall be done.
And these are your instructions, Watson. And I beg you that you will follow them to the letter. You are now playing a double-handed game with me against the cleverest rogue and most powerful syndicate of criminals in Europe.
I'll do as you say.
Now, listen. You will dispatch whatever luggage you intend to take, unaddressed, by a trusty messenger to Victoria tonight. In the morning, you will take a cab. Take neither the first nor the second which may present itself.
Take the third cab then. Where am I to go?
To the strand end of the lower arcade. Hand the address of the cabman upon a slip of paper, which you must reclaim towards this car. Have your fare ready, and the instant your cab starts, dash for the arcade, timing yourself to reach the other side at 9:15.
9:15. Right. What next?
You will see a small carriage driven close to the curb by a fellow in a heavy black coat, tipped at the corners with red. Climb inside and you'll reach Victoria in time for the Continental Express. The second first-class car from the front will be reserved for us.
The train is to be our rendezvous then.
Yes, Doctor. Now, you had better get going. Time is fleet.
You have less frontal development than I should have expected. Dangerous habit to finger a loaded firearm. You don't know me.
On the contrary, it is fairly evident that I do. Pray, take a chair, Professor. I can spare you 5 minutes. If you have anything to say,
All that I have to say has already crossed your mind.
then perhaps my answer has crossed yours.
You stand fast.
Absolutely.
Crossed my path on the 4th of January. 26th, you commoded me. In the middle of Martians absolutely hampered my plans. Now, close of April, I find myself in danger of losing my liberty. The situation has become an impossible one. You must stand clear, be trodden underfoot.
You have listed my interest in you for the past 4 months, sir. But I've been on your trail for far longer than that. January was when I learned your name. I've been noticing your stench for years.
Any fun pleasantness, Mr. Holmes? The contest is at an end. You must withdraw.
I am afraid, Professor, that in the pleasure of our conversation, I am neglecting business and importance to wait elsewhere.
Seems such a... But I have done what I can. I have single move, no little game. You can do nothing before Monday. You don't beat me, Mr. Holmes. Should you prove clever to bring destruction upon me, rest assured, I shall do as much to you.
Good day, Professor. I hope you don't mind showing yourself out.
I shall be brief, yet exact in the little that remains to say. I followed my instructions to the letter, dismissing the first 2 cabs to arrive, then sprinting across the arcade to meet my mysterious carriage at exactly 9:15. We arrived in Victoria where my bags were waiting for me, and I found the second first-class carriage to be reserved for us. My only concern at the moment was that there was no sign of Mr. Sherlock Holmes. car is reserved.
Buongiorno, buongiorno, buongiorno.
I'm sorry, I don't speak Italian. Sir, father, padre, I don't suppose you speak English.
Sì, English, sì. Allo, sì.
Yes, hello. Excellent English, father. But you see, this car is reserved.
Vuole mangiare il formaggio?
What? I don't know. You're going to have to... Oh, never mind.
My dear Walter, you're not being condescending to say hello.
Blast, I should have known.
Yes, my friend, you should. Unfortunately, my disguise is not to Professor Moriarty. Not for long enough, anyway.
Moriarty's on the train?
Not quite. We left him on the station to be called away at 30 seconds. Have you seen this morning's paper?
The newspaper? No, I was too busy trying to catch a train. What did I miss?
You haven't seen about Baker Street? Baker Street? They set fire to our roofs last night. And no great harm was done.
Well, this is intolerable, Holmes.
Yes, and we are only beginning the chase.
There's no chase. You said that we left Moriarty at the station. The boat runs in connection with the train. It seems like we have thrown him off quite effectively.
Dear fellow, you must understand that Professor Moriarty is perhaps on the same intellectual level as myself. You do not imagine that if I were pursuer, I would be baffled by so slight an obstacle.
What will he do?
He will do what I would do.
What would you do?
Engage a special coach. I know it is late, but this train runs in connection to Canterbury, and there is always at least a quarter of an hour's delay at the boat. He will catch us there.
At the boat? Well, then what can we do?
We will get off at Canterbury. We will allow the professor to follow our luggage all the way to Paris. In the meantime, we will treat ourselves to a couple of carpet bags and encourage the economy from the countries through which we travel.
All my love.
Brilliant.
And so, at Canterbury, I bid my entire wardrobe a fond farewell. We spent the next two nights in Brussels, and then went as far as Strasbourg. On Monday, Holmes received a telegraph. It was distressing. I picked it up before he could arrive, but I decided not to open it until he returned.
Blast them all! I put the whole game right into their hands, and they still managed to foul it all up.
What happened?
I might have known it. He's escaped.
Moriarty?
They have secured the whole gang, with the exception of him. Doctor, you had better return to England.
Why?
Because you'll find me a dangerous companion right now. Moriarty cannot return to London. And if I read his character right, you devote his energies to revenging yourself upon me. He told me as much, and I reckon he meant it. I recommend you return to your practice.
His appeal was not successful. Oh, we argued about it for a half hour, but that very evening we resumed our journey. We made it to Geneva, looking over our shoulders the entire way, scrutinizing every face that passed us. We wound our way up the valley of the Rhone, where the manager of our hotel recommended a hike through the mountain trails to reach the falls of Reichenbach.
How are you holding up, Walter? The fall should be right over that ridge.
You go ahead, Holmes. I need to catch my breath.
Magnificent! What an abyss! Watson, you must see this. It looks like the edge of the world.
Doctor! Please come! You would meet him back at the hotel!
Well, fine. Just let me take a peek at the falls.
There's a lady. She's sick. English. Dying even. Please, you must hurry.
Better go then, Doctor. It is hardly seemly to ignore the dying request of a fellow countryman. I shall wait for you here.
But are you sure you'll be all right until I return?
I will be fine, my friend. Don't hurry back. Mind your leg. What better place to wait than the edge of the world? Where is she?
Where is who, sir?
The Englishwoman.
There is no Englishwoman here, sir.
Of course there is. She is sick, dying. You sent this girl. Well, she was right here. Where could she have gone?
No, I didn't. I didn't send a girl, and there is no Englishwoman. I am sorry, sir.
What?
There was an English man here, sir. He left for the falls shortly after you went this morning. You must have seen him.
An English man? Oh no. Oh no. Holmes! It had taken me over an hour to get back to the hotel. And despite my efforts, 2 more had passed before I found myself back at the falls of Brighton Rock. Holmes! Sherlock Holmes, can you hear me? Damnation, I never should have left him. Wait. Observation and deduction. I can do this. He was standing here. There was a scuffle. Footprints. 2 sets leading towards the falls. Well, none returning. Holmes? What's this? A note from his note.
My dear Watson, I write these few words through the courtesy of Mr. Moriarty, who awaits my convenience for our final confrontation. He has confirmed to me my very high opinion of the business, and pleased to think I should be free off the side. Though I feel that this bears a cost which may give pain to some of my friends, especially, my dear Watson, to you.
No.
There can be no conclusion to my career to be more congenial than this. I confess, I knew that you were summoned back to the hotel with a headstone. I allowed you to depart, hoping for this development. Pray, give my greetings to Mrs. Watson, and believe me to be, my dear fellow, very sincerely yours, Sherlock Holmes.
Few words should suffice to tell what little that remains. An examination by experts leaves little doubt that the personal contest between the 2 men ended as it could hardly have failed to end. Deep in that cauldron of swirling water and seething foam will lie for all time the most fearsome criminal and the foremost champion of the law of their generation. Sherlock Holmes will forever be the best and wisest man whom I have ever known.